Welcome back to Data Center News Asia. Oof, James, I'm a little bit dusty this morning. Not been getting good sleep, bit of jet lag this week. All fun and games. How are you?
I'm not too bad actually. Not an amazing night's sleep for me. I had football late last night, which meant I get in about 11:30, and then takes a while to get to sleep. But I can't complain.
Late night exercise. That's very healthy. Somewhat uncharacteristic, I might add.
That's true. That's true. Usually other late night activities have me up late, but now football this time.
Awesome. Well, we've got a bit of a quieter news week this week, although we've got some pretty interesting stories. Couple in Australia, and there's a land deal in India, and I think you had some financial updates for us as well. So, do you want to kick off with the first launch of Stack's data center empire in Australia?
Yeah. So the Stack team launched their Melbourne 36 megawatt facility during the week. This is a significant milestone for the Stack team. As you mentioned, the first facility which is kind of up and ready across their portfolio. So they've got quite a lot in the pipeline with Tokyo, Osaka, Seoul, um, Canberra, and Perth. But yeah, great achievement from the Stack team to get this first one up. This is 36 megawatts, the first building, and it's on a campus which scales up to 72. Yeah, so we saw the press photos. Everyone looked very happy with this, and yeah, congrats again.
And the whole 36 megawatts is online and available, or is it coming on in stages? Do we know that?
So I think like the building is up. I don't believe all the data halls are fit out yet, but I think a significant chunk of it is online or about to be online. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that's yeah, big news for the Stack team. It's been really fast progress for them. I mean, it's hard to think that they only really entered Asia 2 years ago, and then the IPI acquired the Hickory platform only a year ago, so into Australia, and they've already got so many sites going up, or at least in in the key markets of Japan, Australia, and Korea.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's been very fast progress. I think that kind of mirrors what they've done in North America and also Europe, where again it's a pretty new platform, but they already have a pretty significant footprint and a large pipeline. So yeah, all guns blazing there.
That's what they say. One to watch, James. One to watch catchphrase.
Yeah.
Uh, Should we stick with Australia there? There's an interesting story from Bevan Slattery's SUBCO, which is part of his broader soda group of connectivity based companies and businesses. And they have a new cable they're building, and a sort of intra Australia, yeah, intra Australia cable from Perth all the way around to Sydney, covering sort of Adelaide and Melbourne.
Yeah, so this is the first phase of his hyper. I forgot the name. Hyper One, kind of network of fiber. This first phase is taking in some of the key cities, 5,000 kilometers. This one, as you mentioned, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and then finishing off in Perth or starting in Perth. Depends which way you look at it. But another kind of vital cog in Australia's so it's digital infrastructure.
Yeah, they've already completed the Oman Australia cable. I saw that comes from the Middle East into Australia. Australia's interesting because as APAC markets go, it seems although costs of a lot of things are very high there, it seems like somewhere where there's potential to build large amounts of capacity. They've got a lot of land, they've got a skilled workforce, um, very developed permitting systems and an environment with general contractors and all the things you need to build data centers, and potentially a much lower cost of sustainable power if they get things going than a lot of other places. So interesting spot. Australia's already a pretty developed market. I think if you check on DC by all the major cities there have got quite large capacity for the region, but yeah, Australia still seems to be somewhere with potential for particularly some of these large high compute needs.
Yeah, exactly, and obviously the infrastructure which supports data centers is obviously the fiber piece, so they go hand in hand. So I'm sure all the data center operators in the various clusters that you mentioned are pretty happy that this is now making progress.
Excellent. While we're on Australia, I think the news you had financially was from the Macquarie Telecom Group. So is this one of their quarterly statements, or what's happened here?
Yeah, this was Macquarie Tech Group. So obviously within Macquarie Tech Group sits Macquarie Data Centers, but like the Tech Group is doing very well. Revenue's up like 12%, up to 345 million Aussie dollars. Another highlight was the ninth straight year of EBITDA growth, which obviously is something that an investor will look for and be very happy about. But specifically, the Macquarie Data Centers Group, they announced growth of just over 30%, revenues up to 64.4 million. And they also mentioned that they were planning on building/fitting out another additional 6 megawatts for their IC3 Super West facility. So that's the one which sits up in Macquarie Park. And yeah, they also mentioned their aspirational growth plans for a couple of cities across Australia, including another site in Sydney. So one of Australia's, I suppose, domestic players, yes, doing well on the back of still pretty strong demand in Australia.
Macquarie are a real powerhouse of data center finance. Obviously, well known that the Macquarie Real Assets Group, which is their more private equity investment arm, is the backer for AirTrunk presently, and of course the other part of the business, their debt capital is a big provider of lending to Digital Bridge and their portfolio companies like Vantage. So Macquarie has their fingers all across the digital infrastructure landscape in Asia.
Different company, same name, so bit
Not
of a swing and a miss there, Rhys.
Not only I thought the Macquarie Tech Group was still owned by by the broader banking group. I'm
Google it now
there we
quickly.
go.
One of us is wrong. Are you right? Am I wrong?
I'm probably wrong there. I'm probably wrong there, James. I based it entirely on the logo and the name, which I think is. Luckily, this is towards the end of the video, so people won't have watched this far. If they're in the comments, they're sad as they know too much about data centers.
Yeah. Anyway, let's swiftly move on from that one, shall we? Last story was over in India.
Yeah, this is the Amazon leasing 4 acres. This is near to where they'd already signed a big 5.5 acre lease, but this is not part of the broader Navi Mumbai development. This is in an area called Powai, which I guess I'm gonna have to get the maps up for that one.
Yeah, kind of very, very basic terms. We're kind of north of what would be, I suppose, the traditional city limits of Mumbai. So yeah, as you mentioned, not Navi Mumbai, but kind of north of the old Mumbai, if you will. Yeah, 4 acre land parcel via Larsen and Toubro, which I always think sounds very European, but it's actually a big Indian conglomerate. 18-year commitment. There was some reference to 15 years within this 18 years. I'm not actually sure exactly what that meant. But it's adjacent to the 5.5 acre plot, which we reported on in August-ish, I would say, last year. Around this time last year as well. So either building a new facility, joining the facilities together, not quite clear yet, but either way, AWS doing more of their own thing in India.
Yeah, we've got continued self-build progress, but doesn't seem to be holding them back from a lot of the leasing activity as well. I think just generally in India, demand is through the roof continuously.
Yeah. Well, like it's said many times before, the actual current install base is so low. The obviously one of the fastest growing economies, huge population. Yeah, we're going to see tons more development in not only Mumbai but across all the main metros in India.
Excellent. Well, I think that brings our main news stories to a wrap this week. We did have some, I think when I was looking around the interweb earlier, there were a few. Everything else seems to be people commenting on the continued rise of Nvidia's stock and the demand for AI compute, but that all seems very speculative, James. And although we may make mistakes occasionally about the ownership of companies, we do not speculate on the on data centers Asia.
And it's also that Nvidia news is also good reason for me to tell everyone that I bought it about 3 years ago, so I'm sitting here pretty with that. Yeah, good stuff. Well, no, Rhys, pleasure as always. Maybe next week there'll be more news.
All right. Well, happy Friday, everyone, and we will catch you next week. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks everyone.